Boom.
Yeah, well, we're from deep and we're right now.
You can't go. Listen, his dad is not in Maine.
I don't give a fuck who his dad is.
His dad's Constable in this county.
Yeah, well, what the man hit me? What was man? What was speeding his ass off, man hit me?
Oh my God.
Hide me. Yes, you can. Hide me.
Get that blood before me.
Hide me. I can't do this. Okay. Hide me. Hide me. Hide me.
Okay, so first of all, your name and title.
I'm Assistant District Attorney Justin Fowles.
Spell your last name.
Fowles.
Tell me a little bit about this case and where it went to and where it got to today.
So this case is a DWI third or more. It's a felony DWI. The defendant, Donald Ray Middleton, committed his 9th DWI here in Montgomery County back on May 30th, 2015. He was driving drunk. He came from a stop sign and turned into the lane of traffic where another vehicle was driving, and they got into a near head-on collision.
Okay, he did strike the other car.
Yes, the other car was driven by a 16-year-old who was coming home from work, and they were in a collision, and the defendant ended up making his way into the gas station that was right where the accident happened. He went inside the gas station, asked to be hidden, said, "Hide me, hide me, hide me." He tried to flee, get away. He called some friends to come pick him up, and you could see that he was clearly intoxicated on the surveillance video of the gas station.
How has he gotten away with 9 DWIs?
Well, you know, his first DWI was back in 1980, and then he had multiple DWIs all the way up until 1997. And then in 2000, he took a couple pen trips for his DWIs. And then in 2005, he took a pen trip for 2 years. And then in 2008, he was arrested again for DWI. That was his 8th. And he took a 13-year sentence. At that time, the last 2 DWIs, his minimum was 25 to life. And in those 2, he took a 2-year sentence and a 13-year sentence. That last one was in Harris County.
Okay. Now the 5th to 6th, he was still on bond. Tell me about that one.
Okay, so he committed his 5th DWI, and then months later, while he was out on bond, he committed his 6th DWI. And that 6th DWI, he was actually evading the police officer in a vehicle, and he ended up driving through a neighborhood where there were kids out still playing. It was daytime, and sped through the neighborhood and ultimately parked his vehicle in the middle of his lawn trying to run into the house.
And almost all of these involved accidents and with injuries.
Some of them did involve accidents. Not all of them involved accidents, and not all of them had injuries. But the last DWI, his 8th one in 2008, he did crash into the back of a vehicle on the toll road. There was a family inside. They had some minor injuries, but it was still a third-degree felony DWI.
And tell me how he managed to crash into someone on the toll road.
On the toll road, so he was driving up the road, and he thought that he was in the right lane, and he was in the incorrect lane in terms of the easy tag, and he ended up slamming into the back of a vehicle, just speeding, not paying attention. At the time, he was incredibly intoxicated. As the deputy testified, when he tried to get out of the vehicle, he actually fell out of his vehicle and couldn't even stand on his own, and the deputies had to help hold him up, so they weren't even able to perform some of the field sobriety tests on him.
You think it sends a message to some of these DWI drivers around Montgomery County?
I think it does. Judge Hamilton sentenced him to life after committing his 9th DWI, the 2nd DWI in a row that had a serious crash. I think that people need to know that in Montgomery County we take DWI seriously, and that for these habitual offenders who continue to commit DWIs over and over again, that it's not okay. And at the end of the day, we need to take people like that and keep them off the streets. And that's what Judge Hamilton did with her sentence, is she ensured that he's going to spend his life in prison.
Of all the nine times, say the 8 convictions he's had, All basically been Harris County except for one.
Well,
Or other counties, put it that way, other counties besides one.
yes, almost all of them were Harris County. He had a Montgomery County conviction back in the 90s, and then he had the Montgomery County conviction in the early 2000s, so 2005 was when he took that conviction.
Okay. Got it. Okay, personal name and title.
Constable Rowdy Hayden.
Tell me how you get involved in this case.
Well, it's a little different being on this side of the prosecution as a witness and a victim in this kind of a crash. Where, first of all, I want to say we're glad that my son was not injured in this accident. It had potential to be a deadly crash, and we're glad of the outcome today. We certainly support Judge Hamilton and her decision to send this guy to prison for the rest of his life. He showed time after time that he's not going to be able to function in our society, and it was just a matter of time before his actions killed somebody.
Now, your son, the night he was hit, tell me a little bit about that night, how everything came about. You were in Conroe, you were 20 miles away. Tell me what was running through your head going to the scene.
Well, I was 20 miles away, and I got the phone call that every parent dreads to get, knowing that their teenage driving child has been involved in a serious accident, and a ton of emotions go through your mind as you're traveling, trying to get to him to ensure that he's okay.
Once you got there, saw he was okay, what kind of relief, or how does it go? Then you're looking at drunk drivers, then you learn he's got 9 times or 8 times prior DWIs.
Well, first and foremost, I was glad to see that he was okay. Looking at the damage to the vehicles, I was surprised that he was okay. And then after I realized he was okay, I immediately realized that the person that had ran into him was intoxicated. And then naturally, anger came across me at first due to our efforts at the constable's office to try to keep the citizens in this county safe and keep drunk drivers off of our roads. And then here it is affecting me close to home with my son.